Hello and welcome. I am so excited today because I am showcasing these two products here. One is the stamp set called Ruffle Bouquet, and the other one is a stacked arches die. And the reason I'm excited is because this particular stamp set has been designed by me, and this is my very first stamp set that I have designed, and I'm so grateful for Brass and Bliss to have taken this design and created a stamp set, and so that I'm lost for words. So I really hope you would enjoy using this stamp set. It has a large flower bouquet, and then also the word is hope, and then it has a lot of sentiments that can go with hope. And these arches die are just beautiful. I'm so excited because I love the modern rainbow or the arch card or having some kind of a window using that arch. So for the card itself, I've gone ahead and selected these five colors, all in kind of in the pinky shades, and then I'm going to pick a few of these arches. So what I'm doing is actually picking the taking the second one, and then I'm leaving the middle one, and then the next, every other, that's, if that makes sense. I'm taking every other die, the arch that is in this stack, so that way I will have different sizes, and but they would all stack with a little bit of a gap between the three, so you can see that rainbow formation. Then I'm going to take this stamp set here, and I'm going to take the larger flower bouquet rose here, and I'm going to stamp that on the vellum using some VersaFine mark ink, and I'm also going to use some white embossing powder to emboss this surface. Now, this stamp set has additional buds and smaller roses that you can actually add to create a larger bouquet. And then again, as I said, the hope sentiment is like the hero sentiment, and then everything else is like a complement for that hope. And here you can see I'm just going to add some white embossing powder, and while I'm doing this, I have my heat gun on the side heating up, because you don't want to put your heat gun onto your vellum for too long, because then there is a possibility that you would warp it. So I went ahead and heat set it, but I also off camera I went and did another little bud as well, and then I used the coordinating die and I die cut that those two flowers. My idea is to create this rainbow in the center of the card, so I need to shorten the size of the arch. So I'm just kind of putting them all together, and I'm taking about 1 inch from the bottom of every arch here, so that way it'll sit in the middle, in the center of that white note top folding note card, and then I'm just going to adhere these using some liquid adhesive. I'm not using any foam tapes here because this is quite bulky when you add so many cardstocks together, so it kind of creates the dimension itself. And then I realized there's a little bit more of hangover, so I went ahead and cut all that extra pieces using a scissors. And then now you can see very quickly the arches, the rainbows are ready, and that goes into the center. And then I'm going to add these flowers. My idea is to add these flowers in that corner, but I'm trying to put it up there, but I'll change my mind eventually and you will see that. But before that, I need to decide on some sentiments. And so I'm going to take this hope sentiment here, which as I said is the hero sentiment, and I'm going to stamp it onto a white cardstock using just Versamark, what's it called, Versamark? Anyway, the VersaFine onyx black ink, and here you can see how beautifully it has stamped. And then I'm going to use the coordinating die, and I'm so excited that this word hope has a coordinating die. And then I've also gone ahead and cut the hope 2 other times just on plain white cardstock, so that I can adhere all these pieces together, and that would create a little bit of a chunky sentiment for me. Then I'm also going to take an additional sentiment, and the additional sentiment reads, your day is amazing just like you. So hope your day is amazing just like you. But I want to add a little bit of interest to that sentiment. So you can see here that sentiment is quite long. And because these are acrylic stamps, it allows me to bend them because they're so pliable. So I'm actually using what do you call a stamp block to kind of imitate or mimic that arch onto the block itself. So then I can stamp it, and you can see here it takes a little bit of fiddling, but then once you get it, you can kind of adhere it. And of course, when you flip it, it's going to be on the other side. So again, it did take me a while to kind of absolutely figure out what I wanted. I kept doing it a couple of times here and there, and then finally I got what I wanted. And then here I'm just adding some powder so that my embossing powder doesn't adhere anywhere. And I'm just taking that sentiment and I'm going to stamp it, so you can see that it follows that arch very beautifully. I love that you can do that with these acrylic stamps, and you can't do that with the red rubber. Anyway, so I've gone ahead and added some white embossing powder here, and I'm just going to heat set this. I was just removing the extra bits of powder that was around it. Now it's time to assemble the card. So first I want to adhere the rainbow, which I don't know why I did not do here, but anyway, and then I'm going to adhere the flowers, but I also want to make sure that the flower does not hide my sentiment, so I'm trying to angle it the way I want it, and then the hope will go in the middle. So that's kind of the composition of the card itself. So the first, again, as I said, I'm going to adhere this using just liquid adhesive, because I don't want to add any more bulk to this card. Even though there's so many layers, actually the card is not heavy at all, and I think you can mail it without any problem, or you can hand deliver it. Not either way will be fine. Then I'm just going to add some glue, but actually I changed my mind. Before I added the glue, I wanted to add that additional bud, so I went ahead and attached that bud using glue. And then I'm using this liquid glue right in the center, kind of on top of some of those white lines, so that I can, you will eventually see some glue through the vellum, but as it dries, it will dry clear. So even in my pictures, it looks like there's glue and you can see it. And the reason for that is because it was still wet. But I promise you, once it's dry, you won't be able to see anything. Anyway, and then finally, after I adhered the flowers and the hope sentiment, I just added some really beautiful iridescent sequences. And once I'm done adhering the sequences to the card, this card is pretty much done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and here are some close-ups of this card that we created, and you really give a go to this stamp set and these arch dies, and leave us a feedback telling us what do you think about this product. And I really thank you for staying with me this far. Hope to see you next time. Until then, stay blissful. Bye bye.